lined up. Of course, the Team-EnVsn team, the set players from the last couple of weeks. You'll recognize Swifty, Spriggles, very busy Al, Sherrick, and Isung playing their primary op out there. And it looks like the teams are readied up and they're kicking things off here, so we'll see how this goes and get the match underway in just a moment.
I'm excited to see how EnVsn plays this out. Pistol round's going to be crucial here. Starting on T side, I favor T side in pugs. In scrims, I favor CT side. We'll see what they'll be able to come up with. It's all about if they're going to be able to take the trades and use that advantage.
And here we are. The week is beginning. This is CEVO Week 4. Team-EnVsn versus Team Exalted in DE-Season, release candidate 1. This is the latest release of this map from Ted, the original creator of this map back in the source days. And as we head off, looks like they're going to start with a strong B push. Now I know they've been practicing some smokes for the windows out here. It looks like Swifty's going to set up and try to get one of these. This is a very interesting smoke angle to try to hit from outside as the rest of the team pushes up. Sherrick now moving forward. That flash hitting where they wanted to, giving them a fairly clear entrance, but John Biz able to pick up Isung. So John Biz getting the first pick of the match, also able to get Sherrick, putting them up 5v over 3. Al able to sweep around and pick up Gooby, but looks like Frohike and Joey able to clear out both Al and Spriggles, leaving Swifty by himself. Trying to catch some frags as he enters, and late on the entry because of that flash that he threw out. Putting him here is a really tough situation to have to get out of, but he may be able to get the push in. Toe there able to pick him up, and them not making a really fast push. I was surprised to see that. What do you think on for pistol round?
I think their execution or their setup definitely gave them away. It gave the CTs time to rotate through mid. With no lurkers on the EnVsn side, it kind of got them in a rough position where they were facing a 4 or 5 stack, even though it was a basic setup. It just happened a little too slow, I think, for a pistol round with a Glock.
Absolutely. So it looks like here they're going to take the underpass and try to get into A site. Let's see who's playing up there in A site. Joey watching the entrance here up at Horseshoe, and he will be the first to see action this time around. Swifty there pushed out a squeaky door by himself, looking out toward mid. Al able to pick up Joey. Swifty looking to open squeaky door and get control of mid. Push happening here now on the site. Sherrick grabbing Toe and Spriggles grabbing Frohike. That gives Spriggles a second pick for this round. Now John Biz able to get behind him and pick up Isung. John Biz now falling back into CT here. Let's see if he picks up Al on his way in or not. Al holding the right angle to try to cover this, but he's also very low HP. At 8 HP, not going to help him, but he was able to take John Biz down a little bit there to 19 HP. And Swifty here with an exchange with Gooby, also doing a whole lot of damage, but himself down to 3 HP and not able to stop him. John Biz actually peeked him from on top of A site, leaving just Sherrick in there with Gooby picking up Spriggles. Sherrick dying in the blast along with their last man. And that's a really good round to pick up there, especially considering they were fully eco there.
It's a fantastic round. It changed the momentum completely. P250 armor by or the CZ, whichever one you have equipped, is insanely strong. In their defense, I feel like the FAMAS holding the horseshoe angle should have been able to hold that.
Right. There's the first person. Right. The first they're getting to see any action and wasn't able to get any picks, gave them complete control of the site early on. And it looks like their buys this round are P250s and 1CZ. So that does put EnVsn up on top with the money advantage, definitely. And Al there able to get a quick pick on Frohike and start things off. John Biz about to see a whole lot of action. With just that P2000, he's going to have to retreat out. Sherrick now holding upper and has a good line of sight toward both jail and the approach from CT. So he's got a great position there to hold it. Both John Biz and Toe now working their way through jail, getting in sight. But again, with the guns that they've got, They're going to be lucky to make anything happen. Swifty there picking up Toe. Joey able to grab Spriggles, but Sherrick grabbed one quick pick there while Swifty got Joey, and that leaves Gooby Stop by himself here. He may just try to hold on to this. I have a feeling that he's going to want to keep this Galil since he doesn't really have a whole lot of chance of doing a lot of damage against this three-man team already filling the site.
Terrorists win.
And kind of the best option for him is he also didn't have any armor. So this
One rifle in a save round can make a huge difference, but
right.
in a round where the rest of the team isn't buying, not so much, but still a rifle on B or a rifle on A baiting the rest, it can work out.
Well, let's follow Gooby out. It looks like he's the one keeping the rifle, and he went ahead and picked up armor to go along with it. There are some P250 buys there, even a 5.7 with armor going over. Actually, it looks like he's defending with him. Yes, so we have both guns, or both armored, on B site. And the push this time happening out here very slowly, working toward mid. The bomb, however, is over here with Swifty and Isung holding their position as they're waiting to get into B. Now that this action is actually taking place out in mid, Sherrick able to pick up Toe, Isung grabbing John Biz. John Biz will have seen the bomb there, so they know that the bomb is headed toward B site. Isung didn't check the corner, and that's going to cost him, but Swifty was able to get that pick. So that sets up Swifty by himself here in B site, but able to get the plant. Now Joey and Frohike able to pick up guns off of the players that they were able to get a picks on, but they still don't have armor in their favor. So Swifty does have an advantage here armor-wise, and he still has some flashes in hand, but he is facing two armed enemies. They know exactly where he's at, but do they have time to get this, not only the pick, but the defuse as well? And Swifty there able to pick up Frohike for the final pick that round and give them the 3-round advantage over Team Exalted's 1 round. And that pistol round, having won that, should have set them up nicely, but that was a really rough round for them. Following that has been all rough rounds for them. And this, of course, being their first full buy round since, but that's not the turn you want to have happen whenever you get a good start like that.
No, absolutely not. Actually, last round it was Frohike. He went up through sewers there and flanked 3 of the teammates, 3 of Envision guys in mid, and that's kind of what lost them the rifles there, which is a huge investment. And now the gun round, I'm really hoping for a lot more mid control and maybe a split, but.
Well, we do have Sherrick and Spriggles already holding mid and across. Frohike about to see Sherrick. That exchange ending with Sherrick getting the pick there. Now Toe pushing into mid, and he does have a good low angle, but let's see if I can find Toe here. As he pushes out, he's a little late on this rotation, so they're already fully stacked up over here on A side, except for Al, who's holding a spot over there in Vents. Joey able to catch Isung running out at a sight, and Toe grabbing up Sherrick, leaving Swifty, Al in mid, Spriggles pushing in on the other side. Looks like they'll pull back and try to rotate out. Toe there, still keeping control of mid, able to pick up very busy Al. Now Spriggles as he pushes towards Squeaky Door. The door's already open, that gives him some advantage, but Joey got behind him, picked up Swifty there. So Spriggles all by himself. He does have the bomb, so they haven't seen that or gotten control of it. But with 4-man advantage, he's going to have to do what he can to save that AK and live out the last 20 seconds of this round. I think this push towards site's a pretty bold move. He may get in there and get a plant. It looks like he will. That's pretty fantastic. Now he can still save his gun and get out of there, but he's got to try to defend it. Holding off 4 people, fully armed and ready to fight. It's going to be a pretty rough situation, but if anybody can do it. Oh, that move looked pretty good there. Jumping over and grabbing Joey, but John Biz not falling for it. Able to get a quick headshot. He'll bring it into this round. And Gooby stopped John Biz living through the round. They'll keep their weapons. Now, financially, the T-side's pretty hurt here. They're going to have to save this round. They may pick up a couple P250s. Looks like only one so far. But they're probably not going to do a whole lot more. They did go with CZs and P250s across the board, so they've got that buy for them, but without armor, and again facing a fully armed M4 team. Frohike here without head armor. Not sure what that's all about, but let's see where Frohike's playing his position. Pushing directly into lower. And able to get two really quick picks, but Isung having none of it. Picks off Frohike. Sheriff just P250 first on sight, with Joey grabbing him, and then a quick pick on Very Busy Al. Joey picked off by Isung, but Toe quick on the rotation, able to get that last pick and set them up nicely. Let's go ahead and listen in on a round and see what their thinking is here now that they're back in the money and going to buy again. Uh-oh. I take that back. Looks like they don't have the audio stream set up, so we're not going to get any live rounds, but Frohike's always playing up here at Horseshoe and trying to hold this angle. He's pushed forward a couple of times, so it looks like he's going to hold back this time around. Spriggle's there with a pick at mid. Sherrick out with him, also able to grab Toe. That's two picks at mid. Sherrick now pushing. Looks like they're going to go CT side out of A. Try to keep their backs covered as well with the smoke there. John Biz catching him off guard. Able to grab Sherrick, and they know that they're going to head toward A site now. Isung grabbing Frohike in sight, leaving John Biz and Gooby to rotate in. John Biz is awfully low on health, and Al, who came in really late from the backside, able to pick up a frag there. His late rotation all the way through B site and getting him behind him really served him well at this point, and it looks like Gooby is falling back and trying to figure out where he can get a pick on him, and he does. Able to get that pick, but he's going to have to save himself at this point with the op and low HP. He's too far from the A side to make anything happen. So that sets him up 4-3, kicking him off pretty easily there.
On a map where rotates are limited, you can either go back through your spawn or push through. Lurking is extremely essential on that, and I love to see it on a map like this.
I agree, and it seems like Al has been lurking this entire match. He pushes out toward vents every single round, and he kind of hangs out here by himself while he's got Sherrick and Spriggles both making things happen in mid. Of course, Sherrick the first one in, Spriggles there a little bit later coming in, but they're usually in mid getting these picks. Sherrick not falling for that. Quick peek over the top, able to pick that up, and of course Isung already in A site picking up Frohike, so they do have A control, and they're not really sure where John Biz and Gooby are, but they know that they often play B, so they're going to go ahead and try to keep the angles on that. Gooby here trying to pick up anything that comes through CT spawn, but unable to realize that Al was playing jail and picked up John Biz, so he is by himself with that op again. And going to have to save again as a 1v5. Definitely not going to work out with just an op to carry.
Envision off to a pretty strong start, I would say. The CTs are at a point, I'm sorry, you called them Exalted. They're up to a point right now where they either win the round or they have to save, and that's all that happens. They don't have the excess money to keep losing. They're on a buy save, and that destroys your economy.
Absolutely,
also, you're
horrible position to be in general, because you know if you want to pick up a round, you've got to save the next, but then you can't pick up that round. You're right back where you started. And it looks like Joey's not going to be able to get out of spawn with anything more than a P250, but Toe there has a FAMAS with him. Nope. John Biz with an M4 over in A site, or sorry, B site. Over in A, where the action is about to take place, Joey's sitting here with his P250 out. And it looks like they're lining up their smokes. This smoke, actually, I'll follow it over, is going to smoke off CT spawn as it lands out here and put CT as a complete rotation out of the picture. So Frohike's got to hold this angle close, putting him a little further in sight without backup coming up behind him. Joey up top with just the P250, also not going to be able to do a whole lot to create anything happening. Sherrick there, again able to pick up that, but Gooby with the shot, looked like through smoke, able to ground Sherrick. Joey picking up Isung before he's taken down by Swifty. Swifty now in the back of sight, and he does have Al with him. They're in the A site, not lurking this time, so they are still slow to rotate for fear that that lurk is happening, but Al here with Swifty, both in pits. Gooby, really great op shots happening here. And Toe actually able to pick up that last frag against Al from up top. So they did get out of it with an op and an M4. And do pick up one more round here. That'll put them in a better position now, of course, with their buying power. But looks like there's enough money floating around over on the Team-EnVsn side for them to make a full buy as well. Straight push into B. Slowing it down just a little bit, try not to give away their push. And if you look at the mini-map, it looks like Exalted is a little more spread out than they usually are. I think this time trying to play faster rotations over toward A side because that seems to have been favored by EnVsn so far. Now Sherrick will be looks like the first to get some view into sight. Well, Al peeking up quickly. Johnix saw him cross, but Spriggle's able to pick him off. Even though Gooby's able to grab Swifty, they do have sight control. Isung watching their backs there. Al holding up position on bottom. Sherrick with a good eye on Jail. Can't tell if anybody's coming. Toe and Frohike both coming from the backside. Gooby still picking up shots from up top. Unable to get that frag, but Frohike picking up from behind. Sherrick have to get this stop, but not going to do it. Toe got that pick, and that gives them another round, bringing us 5-5 for Exalted v Team-EnVsn in Week 4 CEVO. And that might be just enough to put them on a full save over on the Exalted or the EnVsn side. Well, it looks like they're going to go ahead and buy and spread the money around, do what they can. They do have full armor and full AKs going out, so they're pretty well set up for a push here. Trying to get a push and got mid control rather quickly. Those smokes are really holding off line of sight, so they do have control there. Swifty grabbed Toe, or Frohike. Toe there grabbing very busy Al, but being chased down by Spriggles. Spriggles unable to get that frag though, so they're in a rough situation with that as well. Isung pushed all the way to CT over here, unaware that he's completely surrounded by the other team. And it doesn't look like they know that he's there. John Biz has the right angle for it, but Toe's looking the other way. Nope, Toe's actually got the angle for it, but Sherrick comes in from CT as well, picking off Toe. Joey and John Biz both grabbing frags there. Swifty left out by himself.
Swifty has 30 seconds left, and he's already at stairs in T spawn. I would be surprised to see him go back to A, but if he does, I can understand his reasoning. Like it more if he went back to B though.
Well, with the bomb, he does have control of his choices here, so they're not forcing him into any particular position, but he really didn't know what he was walking into there. Joey and John Biz both still holding angles up there, so they were able to pick up that round with relative ease on the back end. And of course, that is definitely going to put Team-EnVsn on a full save. They'll take P250s out of sight, but no one going to grab armor this time. And of course, there are a couple of AKs and that op Gooby playing with the ops and taking it B side every round. This time setting up in jail. The push is going their way. John is hiding up underneath, able to pick up 3 really fast frags, leaving Gooby just grabbing 1 there against Swifty, and so very busy Al completely by himself. And of course on a save, they weren't expecting a whole lot more to come out of that, I'm sure, against fully armed team, but I'm sure they hope to grab at least 1 on their approach in. Now he was able to grab a frag there and took the gun out of Toe's hand, but John Biz and several other team members already ready to go, able to shut that down. So here we are, counter-terrorist 7 against the T's 5. That is Team Exalted facing Team-EnVsn. Exalted up 2 extra rounds on them, and of course here we head into the 13th round. We'll see how they're going to take this out. It looks like they're splitting on B. Al trying to get the pick in mid before the round starts. He was able to do a lot of damage there, so that should pull them off a little bit. But Toe pushing up fairly fearlessly. Gooby holding his same angle where he was watching previously. And of course, after that pick, there's Gooby with another pick. Grabbing Sherrick. Got a very tiny line of sight there. But hoping for the frag. Who's he got above him? Toe pushing through, and it's John Biz who's actually up top watching that entrance.
It's been a standard rotate where you see the mid guys push out very confidently, and they don't really run into much opposition. Nobody's really watching it back, or it's not for. You always see Fro Hike always be able to get into lobby or something like that.
Right, they are rotating fairly quickly and getting behind them, but generally the EnVsn guys will watch their own backs. Here you go, you got Isung turning around, catching Fro Hike off guard and getting behind them. But Gooby unstoppable with this op, dropping everybody that comes through this door. And leaving Spriggles out there by himself. Spriggles making the most of it, able to pick Gooby. And here trying to catch John Biz as he comes around. He knows he's out there, but not sure exactly where. And those quick shots, trying to get that no-scope and get the pick, but unable to make that happen. And of course Joey able to rotate, had tons of time to get out there behind him and get that pick. Now they're back on full buy again for Team-EnVsn, and they've still got AKs that they're handing out, keeping control of over on the CT side. Exalted putting one of those AKs over on A site, one over on B site. And of course Gooby playing a standard op in B, holding that angle. Looks like a full push this time from Team-EnVsn onto the B site. From their perspective, Isung last one in, always watching his back. Al leading out with, it looks like Sherrick and Spriggles all going up top. And Swifty holding back down on the bottom with the bomb. Gooby able to get one pick there, and a fully blind pick there on Swifty. He knows they've got the site and they've got the bomb down. Spriggle there picking up Gooby. Throw height grabbing Isung in sight. Joey with the pick on Spriggles, and that's going to give one more round to Exalted and set them up nicely for this last round of the half. But they do have just enough money over on the Team-EnVsn side. They will have full buys with armor and AKs across the board. And the same setup on the CT side. Looks like John Biz traded up for an M4 this time over on B site, so it'll be Joey and Toe, both with the AKs. Toe pushing out mid. I didn't see anything, but there he catches a glimpse of Al, knows he's out beside him. Sherrick had a good line of sight, wasn't able to make anything happen with it. Al able to get that pick. Gooby coming out mid, picking up 2 quick picks against both Spriggles and Owl. Now Swifty out Squeaky Door, catching Joey off guard. Trying to flash himself toward sight and keep him out of the push from behind in mid. But now Isung on his own, trying to make something happen up at Horseshoe, and he doesn't have the bomb. Bomb's down at mid, so unless he picks up a quick 3K, looks like this round is going to go to Exalted. And that will take us to the second half of the CEVO Week 4 match.
I know it's a little too late now, but I would have loved to see more default control from mid, stop the rotates in their tracks, and from mid you have a lot of choices. Same idea as Cash, if you control mid, you control the flow of the map. I feel that that's extremely important on Season.
That's pretty standard for any map with a traditional mid. Dust 2, if you have mid control, you can go either way. Isung able to get Gooby there in mid, so he does have an op this time. I don't know if he realizes he's on the last round. He's got to make something happen here, but he does have the bomb and a way back toward the B site, but only 20 seconds to work with. Now 10 seconds left. Looks like he'll have enough time to get into A site, and they assumed he would go B after those shots came out. Just enough time to plant. That last second plant. Setting him up nicely. 35 seconds to work with on the CEVO rules. He's going to set up Horseshoe and hope that they come CT. He doesn't realize he's got one right behind him. That'll give Frohike that last pick and then this last round of this half, bringing it to Exalted 10, Team-EnVsn 5, and wrapping up the first half. Like you said, mid-control on Mirage, Cash, Dust 2, just about any map is really going to make the difference in who has the power in the map. If you can get to mid first and set up some good smokes, you'll have full control of either direction you want to go, preventing rotation from the other team in either direction. So that does set them up nicely, but they didn't spend a whole lot of time there. I mean, you're absolutely right. In fact, it seemed like Toe was the only one that really spent his time out there.
No, there wasn't a lot of Team-EnVsn contesting the control over mid. It seems like they'd smoke it and try to get to cast fast, but they wouldn't bother to fight and actually take mid. From there you can fall back, you can go up cat, you can go A, you can go through vents. It just offers so many options that I wish they took advantage of.
Absolutely. Now it looks like for the first round they're going to push toward B site. A lot of decoys in that direction. Hopefully, I'm sure they're hoping that it will drive them off of the idea that they're headed that way. And they're going to have Joey over here getting a pick and making some noise in A site trying to draw the rotation. And it looked like it's going to work for them. Swifty here pushed all the way out toward mid. And Al rotating already through jail. He realizes now they do have some invents, and he'll hear that bomb plant starting up. So they know that they're in B and they're off their rotation. So that puts them at a major disadvantage trying to pick this pistol round up. Toe grabbing Isung, Spriggles catching Gooby off guard. The knife attempt from Swifty. He was able to get the strike, but it didn't do him a whole lot of good. And Spriggles now by himself in the bomb site. Able to pick them up, but I don't think he's going to have enough time for this defuse.
Though those were
Yeah.
miraculous shots from the USP, but to no avail.
I think that plan to send Toe out to A site, or Joey, sorry, to send out to A site to get those quick early picks really gave them a whole lot of advantage in their positioning on the map, because they pulled that rotation off of B incredibly quickly, even though they hadn't seen bombs. So I think that might have just been a little bit of a mistake on the Envision side. This time looks like they're stacking up A site, only going to send Swifty by himself out here to B, and that stack is actually going to be the best idea for them. And again, it looks like they're going to get this eco round. They're getting quick picks. Shirk grabbing Joey and Fro Hike. Isung able to get John Biz. Gooby the only one picking up a frag, and that was on Swifty, who was the only one in B. So that leaves Gooby and Toe by themselves trying to make something happen. And of course, the Envision guys know exactly where both of them are, and they have the bomb on the ground. So Toe, they're able to get Sherrick. Gooby coming around, not able to get his pick. Spriggle's catching him off guard. So now Isung has a gun. Toe trying to get that plant, does get the bomb down, so that'll set them up for a bye next round, but Spriggle's going to get this defused without any trouble. Again, winning the pistol round and then losing their next round following. That's a really rough situation to be in, and not something you want to have happen, especially twice in one match.
It's very demotivating to know you have rifles and you just run into an unlucky stack.
I think that was a good call, though, to put 5 or 4 on A. If they had lost that round, they could have, or had the rotation gone the other way, they could have left their guys in A and still had their armor and P250s heading into the next round, making almost the same amount of money. I mean, they would make a little bit more off of the frags, but that's that's the most you could hope for, is to catch a couple of frags and stay alive.
If Team-EnVsn can hold this eco round here, of them all coming out of lure, they'll be set for another 3 rounds, but if they lose this, they're in the same position they were last half.
Who's watching them from up top? Isung out in mid, Spriggles here with the view. And the one going to catch them as they come out into Horseshoe here. He sees them coming in now. I'm sure he got at least some of the count, so he knows they're there. And that's going to call the rotation. John Biz trying to get the bomb into sight. He's going to plant here at corner. Spriggles there picking up Fro Hike, but John Biz grabbing Isung. And Very Busy Owl catching John Biz. Owl now heading into the site, figures out where Toe's at, knows that he's up top. Joey there stopping the rotation from mid, and grabbing Swifty, so that leaves Spriggles to grab Toe, and now Spriggles by himself, and he knows where he's at, but unable to get that pick. Joey saving that round for them, and like you said, now you've got the CTs on the rough side. Team-EnVsn not going to be able to make a full buy, so it looks like they're probably going to go P250s out and setting up Exalted to set their full buy. They'll have an op in the mix as well as 4 AKs, so we'll see if they take that op out mid and try to make something happen. Looks like he's headed straight for it. That flash, great angle, pulled Isung immediately off of that corner and giving them a time to cross without wasting any smokes. And Joey there was watching the right angle and able to catch Isung off guard and get the pick at mid. Sherrick here waiting for the push in. Help Cat. Knows that they're coming. Spriggle's down in pit already and also sees that they're up there. But Joey and Gooby not having any of it. Grabbing those quick picks. Joey from CT side. Fro Hike able to rush in and get a pick on Spriggles. Toe grabbing Swifty and putting it into another round and giving another round advantage to Team Exalted. Now they're back on a bye on Team Exalted after that save, but they do have a P90 and a FAMAS in play. Now Isung able to get his op and he will take it mid, but that flash missing, actually setting off his own team. Joey putting his team in a bad position, and Isung able to get that pick for that cross. Gooby here trying to get behind him in case he crosses over onto that into that angle on Jail. Frohike watching for a push to come from A site. Isung keeping his position, watching for a cross to happen. And making sure he's got eyes on Vince. Gooby's still set up, looks like in Vince, and just about to push out that direction. So Isung may actually catch him here as he pushes out. Yep, able to get that pick. That sets them up nicely with the 5v3. They're slowly pushing toward A site, still making their way out there, and of course they're about to run into a 4-stack in there. And still armed nicely. Now, Isung grabbed Joey, Toe able to get Spriggles, but then Sherrick able to pick up Toe, leaving Frohike out here by himself, still trying to get into sight, but he still has the bomb with him, so he could make the rotation in just enough time, but it doesn't look like he's going to try. He's going to step in and see if he can get this plant. And he will get the plant, but alone in sight, nothing but an op in his hand. That nade, all it took to put him away. Swifty there with the frag and the defuse. Trading the sides once again. It's been a real back and forth in the second half.
It has been, and I would give that round to Isung. He spotted both of them crossing mid and was able to call a cat push, also killing one of them. And that allowed the B guys to pull off, knowing that with full confidence it's at A.
Let's see Isung push out into mid, see how his line of sight is out there. Now, I'm going to predict that Exalted is going to try a B push this time around, as that mid didn't work out for them at all, and it does look like they're headed in that direction. So Isung's not going to see a whole lot of action, and in fact, looks like Swifty and Owl are going to be the first to run into this. Swifty just with a spray there into smoke, doesn't really have any line of sight on what's happening. Sherrick now pushing already to get into Vince, going to run into John Biz here in this corner. John Biz with a really quick headshot pick. And that flash from Al was a great angle, but didn't actually catch anybody. Swifty catching Frohike on his entrance. Gooby up top, trying to hold an angle where he can get a pick out here toward Isung and Al. John Biz picking up Al from down the bottom. And another trade there. Isung grabbing Gooby, leaving John Biz by himself, trying to get into sight and get the bomb back from both Isung and Spriggles, which is a tough team to have to face, but looks like they're both looking the same direction.
This has the potential to be catastrophic right here.
Them both keeping their eyes toward the bomb. They want to keep him from picking it up, but he's looking for the frag. He's doing a great job of keeping himself concealed. Isung doesn't want to show his body to that outside B push, because he will get caught from behind. But John Biz knows he's there, not giving up on that shot. He's going to have 20 seconds to make 2 picks. I have a feeling he wants to get the op out of the way first. Showing little regard for Spriggles now. Spriggles not falling for the flash, able to pick up John Biz and save this round. Giving Team-EnVsn another round CT side, keeping them in the running here and putting Exalted in another rough money position. Looks like they are going to take mid. Swifty already getting the call, pushing out toward mid, try to get some angles on him. Going to do a little bit of damage with that nade and then rotate quickly over toward A. Sherrick getting a lot of damage there, but Isung's pick able to drop the bomb carrier. They did get the bomb and they are headed back out toward mid. Toe pushing through Vince now. May run into some unexpected opposition as he does. Very busy Owl also there waiting for him. Isung grabbing Joey, leaving Gooby by himself out mid. Just a P250 in hand. And his hopes and dreams riding on that pistol. And they do have him surrounded. Just about every possible angle covered here to keep him in mid and keep the bomb from going anywhere. Spriggle's looking the wrong direction. iSung has the right idea, but Spriggle's looking back toward A site. Sherrick also watching A site from up top, so they got two stacked out there. Swifty set up in jail, watching for something coming from B, so looks like Gooby's able to move around in mid freely and able to catch Spriggles off guard, looking the wrong direction, but throwing a grenade at himself there, bringing him down to 54 HP. He does have a gun, so he's probably going to try to get out of there and save that gun. Only 20 seconds left. Try to get through four guys, get the bomb and get it planted. That's certainly not going to happen this round.
Counter-terrorists win.
They got the money to buy. Gooby keeping a hold of that M4. Have just enough to pick up some armor. And he still has his P250 from the last round. Full armor across the board and AK for the rest of their crew. They still have a FAMAS for Very Busy Al, even though he's got some money to spend. It is a trustworthy rifle, something that can make action happen, and no need to buy extra for it. And here, a very interesting boost setup, and they were able to get it set up rather quickly, so that's going to leave Al in sight by himself and give Swifty a chance to rotate out and watch longer angles. But the action working into A over here. Gooby with the bomb carry, pushing forward and trying to get into sight. The smoke's actually giving him a little opportunity to get further in. Joey also pushed up really far on mid. I don't know that iSung knows he's up that close. I think he just got a glimpse of him, so he's falling back. Spriggle's picking up throw hike on his entrance. Gooby unable to make anything happen as he's pushing in, but that nade might catch Sherrick. Nope, he will be able to get the pick though, using the M4 there. So now he can see sight clearly, but he does know that he's got more to face out that direction. And of course, Swifty trying to make the rotation into mid. Spotted by Joey, and Joey getting that pick. Gooby getting a pick on iSung in A site. So they're now set up, fully surrounding A. John Biz with a lucky nade there, catching Spriggles as he was trying to push through CT. Al left now with just that FAMAS, and smoked out of his angle. He's going to have to make a lot of magic happen here to stop this. And Joey out behind him, able to pick up that frag, giving another round to Team Exalted, setting them up 14-9 against Team-EnVsn CEVO Week 4 on DE Season Release Candidate 1.
Is that what RC stands for? Release
It
Candidate?
is.
Oh, I didn't know that. You learn something every day.
Yeah, generally the release candidate will be a final version of any product, but they have to put it through full testing, this actually being a good test for that. And once it's been thoroughly vetted, it will become version 1.0, or the final release version of it, even though this is already 2.0 for DE Season coming from Ted with his update. Pretty much just making it pretty. It didn't change a whole lot of the way the map plays. There are a couple of areas where it did, but not a lot. Sherrick pushing up, able to get a quick peek on Gooby, but Joey able to pick up iSung, catching him out. Fro hike now flashing to get himself into sight. Going to see Spriggles before Spriggles sees him and get that pick. Now they know action is coming toward A, but John Biz from behind able to grab Sherrick. So it'll be Al and Swifty late on the rotation, trying to cross over mid, taking a lot of damage there, down to 4 HP. Al sneaking up, able to get a quick pick. And it looked like they were able to get a pick on Swifty before that exchange with Owl in mid, so Owl's going to take that Galil and get out of there. Kind of wish he had gotten out with a little bit of a better gun, but he did survive, armor intact.
Last round here, and money's a little tight on Team-EnVsn. I would expect to see a very ballsy rush. I don't think they'd want to play passive with rifles against them in this area. To each their own, but I think they have to change something up if they want a chance.
Sherrick with the Nova. Swifty grabbing that Galil. Al trading up for Mag 7. It looks like Isung and Spriggle's both going with the P250. And the T's are all over the place. Gooby with his eyes out toward mid. Not sure what he's expecting there. I guess they were expecting the rush as well and it not coming. Joey's flash, again flashing his teammate. Gives him room to move. John Biz trying to sneak up from behind with that op. It's not going to be good in close range, but if he can get an angle to peek out towards CT. Spriggle's making something happen over at mid. Got Gooby. And Joey able to turn out and pick up Sherrick, so that flash from John Biz, the wrong angle, didn't actually catch anything and landed inside their entrance. Swifty picking up John Biz rather quickly. Toe and Joey now trying to decide where they're going to go. It looks like they're going to head toward vents and try to get back toward B site. And they do have B control, so it's now on Swifty and Isung to stop this plant or pick these frags up and save themselves from a loss here.
This is going to be a hard retake if they don't coordinate quickly. Oh, too late.
Yep, Frohite grabbing Isung and Swifty caught out mid. That'll bring it into the game. Team Exalted picking that one up. 16-9 over Team-EnVsn. And that'll end up things for us here on CEVO Week 4. A rough match for Team-EnVsn, but well fought on the Exalted side. And, well, we'll see what they can make happen next week. That bringing it to a 2-2 start for Team-EnVsn to get them started off for the season. Any final words?
I would say Exalted played a very nice game. They knew when to be passive, they knew when to be aggressive. They knew what they could do with the picks they took. They didn't overextend. And if I were to give something to EnVsn, I would say I would like them to take mid, or at least control it. If they put 2 mid, same thing as Cash, and then you automatically have half a flank done. That's just preference, but it works
Absolutely.
most of the time.
And you actually saw the Exalted guys taking advantage of that. They pushed into mid quite often. They kept control of it throughout the rounds and were able to make decisions like whether or not to rotate toward B site out in that direction. So that did give them quite an advantage there. But we'll see how they take this in, take a good look at it, and make a adjustment on their play style there. They did a lot of practicing on this new season map, but unable to make anything happen there, and a well-fought match, but going definitely the way of the folks over at Team Exalted, and a congratulations to them. Tune in again next week, generally the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday nights to catch the next CEVO matchup, and we'll get you all the information that you could want about that if you just check out our groups on Steam, or keep an eye on the YouTube channel. You can find more information about Team-EnVsn there. We'll catch you again next week, folks.